people question the accuracy of Anthony Richardson, and rightfully so. And then you see this throw that he makes down the seam, like just over the fingertips of a linebacker and just in front of the defender guarding Kylen Granson. And I mean, it's just a perfect ball. It's right on the numbers. And then you see him make throws like that. And it just reminds you, or it reminds me, of why they took Anthony Richardson. Okay? Like, he is incredibly talented as a thrower of the football from an arm strength perspective. And that matters. Okay, the reason why Tua Tagovailoa isn't a guy that people perceive as a Super Bowl level quarterback, a quarterback that's able to, win games in the playoffs in January. But the reason he's not perceived that way is because he doesn't have a very good arm. Like, arm strength is an important aspect of playing the quarterback position, and seeing Richardson drop back and rip it on a rope, 20 yards downfield, putting it right on Granson's numbers, like that should give us a little bit of hope for where Anthony Richardson is going in terms of his development. I don't know if he could have been that accurate at this time last year. It was a heck of a throw. All right, so we have to remember that about Anthony Richardson. Even though there are going to be mistakes this year, like, the decision-making is getting better, and he's incredibly talented. The other thing that we have to remember is that Anthony Richardson is just a kid. He is 22 years old. Okay, second year on the job. I don't know what you do for a living, but I'm willing to bet that when you were 22 years old, you made mistakes at whatever job you work for. The only difference is you didn't have 70,000 people yelling at you when you made mistakes, and you didn't have people tweeting at you when you made those mistakes. I know for me, don't ask my boss the mistakes I made when I was 22. They're not good. They aren't good at all, but that's part of the growth. Okay, for anybody who's getting into a new profession or moving up a level in whatever, mistakes are going to be made. That's what happens with young people at any job, whether it's playing quarterback in the NFL or it's being an accountant or working at a bank or being a salesman. Like, no matter what profession any 22-year-old is in, they are going to make mistakes. And Anthony Richardson is no exception to that. Okay, Anthony Richardson is incredibly young. When you look at this year's NFL draft and you look at all the guys taken in the first round, if you look at all the quarterbacks drafted, here are all the quarterbacks taken in this year's NFL draft that Anthony Richardson is younger than. Anthony Richardson is younger than number 1 overall pick Caleb Williams. He is younger than 12th overall pick Bo Nix. He is younger than number 2 overall pick Jaden Daniels. He's younger than the number 8 overall pick Michael Penix. He's younger than Spencer Rattler, Jordan Travis, who are both drafted in the 5th round. Joe Milton, he's younger than him. He's younger than Devin Leary. He's younger than Michael Pratt. Okay, Anthony Richardson is younger than every quarterback drafted this year except for 2, Drake May and J.J. McCarthy, who are both 21, and he's almost younger than J.J. McCarthy. Okay, Anthony Richardson is incredibly young, and that is something that we have to keep in mind throughout this season, okay? And it's clear that he's young in everything that he does. Okay, I watch every time Anthony Richardson is at the podium, I go back, I watch the video because I'm pulling audio from my show or Dan's show, which you can listen to from noon to 3 on the Indy Sports Ticket app if you want to go download that at the App Store or the Google Play Store. Okay? And so, like, you sit back and you listen to him just answer questions, and I find it funny. I find it comical that he and Shane Steichen get a lot of the same questions asked, and their answers just couldn't be any different. I find it, like I said, very comical. So after the Bengals game on Thursday night, A.D. Mitchell scored his first touchdown of his NFL career, even though it was a preseason game. He scored his first touchdown against the Bengals. And Anthony Richardson was asked about it, and so was Shane Steichen. And they're different, and their answers are just completely and totally different. So here's what Anthony Richardson said about A.D. Mitchell's first career touchdown.
I don't know. It just felt good just having that complete drive right there. We executed, play by play. And, luckily he was the one to catch the touchdown pass. And I hope he kept the football.
He's asked a very simple question. How do you feel for Adonai Mitchell scoring his first career touchdown? I don't know. And then Shane Steichen gets asked the exact same question. And here's what he had to say.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, obviously, when you get out there, whether it's preseason game, regular season, but to get in the pay dirt as a rookie is huge. It's a great job by Anthony. They brought Blitz Zero there, had to drift a little bit, got that ball off, hit him in stride. That was a big-time play.
Shane Steichen, they both asked the exact same question. Like, how do you feel? What was it like for Adonai Mitchell to score his first career touchdown? And Anthony Richardson very much sounded like a 22-year-old guy. I don't know. I hope he kept the ball. Shane Steichen, on the other hand, so glad for Adonai Mitchell, man. It's great. So glad that he got to the pay dirt, whether it's the preseason or the regular season. Great play there by Anthony Richardson. Just a much more professional answer. Okay, one guy sounded like a 22-year-old, and the other guy sounded like a 39-year-old. Okay, like we have to remember over the course of the season that Anthony Richardson is only 22 years old. Okay, and he hasn't played a ton of quarterback. I'm going to harp on the fact that he's only started 23 games since high school. That needs to be remembered throughout this season because there's going to be ups and there's going to be downs, and not because Anthony Richardson's a bust and not because Anthony Richardson's going to be great, but just because he's 22. Okay, like I'm 24, and I meet with my boss every Wednesday, and we go over my shows and my monologues and my interviews with the goal of helping me improve, helping me get better, and that needs to happen for me because I'm 24 years old. That's it. And it's the exact same thing with Anthony Richardson. And it's part of why I'm very excited to see how he looks this year because he's had a full season of being able to sit in these quarterback rooms and ask questions and hopefully learn some things before going out onto the field full time and hopefully playing a full season. Right? This is a guy who, again, hasn't played a ton of quarterback. And that needs to be remembered when he makes mistakes this year. Okay? I know that you don't want him to make any mistakes. I don't want him to make any mistakes. But it's going to happen. Okay, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs made a ton of mistakes last year on the offensive side of the football. They were 28th in turnover margin last year because Mahomes and the Chiefs offense, the best offense in the NFL, coached by the best coach in the NFL, Andy Reid, made mistakes. Okay, so if Mahomes, the best quarterback in the NFL, coached by the best coach in the NFL, made mistakes last year, then it's going to happen to Anthony Richardson this year. Josh Allen made or makes mistakes. Now, he's slowly gotten better, right? Early in his career, he made more than he does now, right? Because that's what happens. The more you do something and the more that you mature in a position, the better you get. Same thing for, Lamar Jackson. Those are arguably the three best quarterbacks in the NFL. They all make mistakes. Tom Brady threw over 200 interceptions in his career. He threw interceptions in Super Bowls. Okay, mistakes happen from quarterbacks, but they especially happen for young quarterbacks. And Anthony Richardson is incredibly young for a starting NFL quarterback. J.J. McCarthy, out. He's out for the year. Drake May, probably going to be the starter for the New England Patriots since Jacoby Brissett hurt his shoulder in the last preseason game. Drake May is going to be the youngest starting quarterback in the NFL. Do you know who the second youngest starting quarterback in the NFL is going to be? Anthony Richardson. Okay, this kid, because that's what he is incredibly young. He is going to make mistakes this year. Okay? We just have to hope that they don't come at the wrong times. Okay? And here's the other thing. Chris Ballard's got a long leash. There's no way he would have drafted a project, because that's what Anthony Richardson is. There's no way he would have drafted a project like Anthony Richardson unless he knew he had some leash. Okay? The Colts may not make the playoffs this year. The more I look at the roster, the more I think about it. This is not an official prediction. I still have time to change my mind. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the playoffs. But the thing that we need to see this year is exactly what Shane Steichen said in that clip that I played, a few minutes ago. We need to see steady improvement from Anthony Richardson every single week. Okay, that is the number one thing that I want to see from the Colts this year. I want to see Anthony Richardson look more and more like the franchise quarterback that we all hope that he is as the season progresses.